My name is Katie Kelley. I'm at the Public History Center in Sanford, Florida. We're here today with Marilyn Maples, and the date is October 19th, 2013. Marion, could you just introduce yourself? Just some background information, where you're from, how long you've lived in the area, that kind of thing.
My name is Marilyn Maples, and I've been here over 20 years. I moved in my house in 1993. And when I purchased here, Sanford was on that turn. It was either going to go good or it was going to go bad. And, you know, there was a short period of time I would drive in and go, what was I thinking? Now I'm elated to drive home every morning. I love my town. I love Sanford. And we're truly a community, and there's not many communities in the United States. You know, we are, our neighbors during the hurricane, they were out in forces helping each other. So, and right now we're doing a benefit downtown because somebody has cancer. So we always come together as a family to help our community.
How did you become involved with the Celery Soup project and Creative Sanford?
It was because of the networking of people. You know somebody that's doing something, they ask you to come out and be a part of it. And I was just asked by, I want to say Brian Casey, asked me to come and be a part of, Creative Sanford.
Did you know what it was when you...
Not really. I did see the performance at the Wayne Dench when the group from Georgia came down, and I loved it. I thought it was great, and I was kind of well hooked at that moment. But I saw myself more as maybe a storyteller, gathering lines or doing the background, because I've produced over 20 shows at the Wayne Dench, and very little stage time. So with this play, it gives anybody the opportunity to be on stage, whereas you go to other theater groups and it's very cliquish. So people never get the opportunity to go out on stage, where this one, if you can fog up a mirror, you're on stage.
What do you think is, what does the being involved mean to you?
Oh, it means, well, I'm preserving history. I'm a storyteller. I'm preserving history, and it's showcasing what a great place Sanford is. And if you live here, you love it here. There's not many people living in Sanford, I would say, hate it.
What is your role in the current play?
I play Marlene Baggs. Baggs Produce is here on the corner of 25th and Sanford, and they've been there, I want to say, since day one. And also Arthurene, she was a tax collector in the Seminole County Courthouse back in the 50s.
Well, I have on here, how do you get into character, but I guess what we're trying to get at is, what is your character's role in Sanford history? Why was their story included, I guess?
Well, I mean, everybody that's lived here, has a story, has a story to tell. And the Baggs, we've got tons and tons. They were a colorful family. Particularly in the play, it's called Rat Shot. Mm-hmm. And this particular one is, the mother got out the rat shot gun because her and the father were having an argument. So, I mean, she was shooting in the store, things were exploding. And then the previous play that I was in, I was Marlene Baggs as well. And he was a worm farmer. People would stop, on their way to go fish, and he said, hey, I can sell worms. So Arthurene is maybe not as colorful. She was just a person that worked here and was a tax collector.
What do you see as Creative Sanford's and the Celery Soup play? What do you see as sort of their role in preserving Sanford's history?
Well, we're preserving also Seminole County. People, are more tend to be, to learn quicker, I think, with a visual aid. And a lot of people come to the theater and go, I I didn't know that about Sanford. It's just, they're just, or they go, I knew that building, but I didn't understand why it was here, or, what it was used for. Also, on Sunday, we're going to be hosting the fourth graders. We always host fourth graders with any of these shows because it's part of their curriculum to, the history, Seminole history.
And then, I guess finally, just what do you see as the overall value of this project and your involvement with the Creative Sanford group?
Well, my involvement, goes, far more than just being an actress. I'm also on the theater committee. I'm also the volunteer coordinator. I'm also on the marketing. So it just brings people together and showcase your talents. And even showcase talents you didn't know you had. Mm-hmm. So it's an enrichment for anybody who comes out. And I encourage anybody to come out and be a part of it. Because like I said, if you can fog up a mirror, you're an actress or an actor in the Celery Soup productions.
Hi, this is Scot French. I'm also part of this project. I wondered if have there been any difficult moments in telling the story about Sanford's history or Seminole County history?
Well, in our original production, Touch and Go, mm-hmm. It was about a lost pilot. He was between worlds. Mm-hmm. He had already died, but he didn't know he was dead. And so at one of the scenes is the actual burial, of a military personnel. And so they're floating the flag very, it was very reverent. And the woman playing the role, Karen Casey, she would just weep. And everybody's in there weeping with her because it was. Also, we have a thing at the end called I Remember. And it's where we're remembering people who have passed. And I've had two actors doing it. It would remind them of Ken. Don't remember Ken's last name, but it reminded him of his mother passing. He came over there and was just weeping on my shoulder. And then another woman, she's Dodie, and she's a celery queen. And her son had passed away, and it brought tears to her eyes because, it was that time of year when he had passed. And so it touches not only the cast, but the audience as well. I've had audience come up to me and say, I cried and I laughed. This was just unbelievable. So there are difficult moments.
How about the fact that you're dealing with a history that is, in some cases, very painful, things like segregation, and there's even a scene with Dr. Starke and
I tell you, I wept when I first saw it being performed during rehearsals because I had no idea that a black person during that time, if they were injured, they could not go to the hospital in an ambulance. They either had to go by hearse or a family member. So, segregation was just a bad thing, but it didn't just happen here in Sanford. It was all over the United States. And it didn't just happen in the South. It was also happening up north. But not as bad because of just the population. But I think, even today, people, even in the last year, people still try to show us as a very racial town, and we're not. I think we've really evolved. I know one of our actors, Nancy Ford, she grew up here, and she remembers Jim Crow law at the Wayne Ditch. Wayne Ditch has a balcony, and that's where black people had to sit. And the white people were sitting down beneath. And when I would volunteer at the Wayne Ditch, I had people come in and say, I remember I had to sit upstairs. But we were throwing things down on the white kids below. So, it's been a healing moment for everybody. It was a sad time in our history, but throughout the war, there's been many sad things. But there's always something that rises up good out of it. You know, like the phoenix. It rises up and is reborn.
Is the cast and crew and everybody involved, are you sort of aware of the significance, the symbolic significance of coming together like this and telling these stories and integrating these histories that maybe weren't integrated, you know, in the past? There was one community and another community, but you've made a very self-conscious effort to sort of weave these stories together. Do you think there's an awareness of that among the cast and crew, that what you're doing has this?
Oh yeah, I mean, this brings you in a place where you would meet people you would not normally meet, just because of, you know, where you live or who you socialize with. And because of this, I have met some of the most wonderful people, and I call them, you know, dear friends, like Dr. Annie Refro. She was in the original one, and it was one of her tales of generations, where she was outlining, you know, her roots from Africa to Barbados to, you know, and all the way up to Sanford. And she was the first one in her generation to get an education, a doctor's degree. When I saw Annie on stage performing it, you know, during rehearsals, I fell in love with her. I said, I want to be just like this woman. So yeah, I mean, would I have met her any other place? No. So it's really good.
And is there anything else that you would like to share with us or with anybody who's interested in this project? Just sort of final words or anything you'd like to?
Well, you know, just as we were joking about, you know, there's so much money to be made in history. You know, the theater suffers as well. And so we're always looking for, you know, people to come and see the play. And we're also looking for people who want to sponsor it, you know, because history is so important, and particularly oral history. You know, I mean, I'm going to look back at this as cave drawings. You know, they had a story to tell, and they told it on the walls. So this is, you know, this is our version of cave drawing. We're telling the story, preserving history.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Just to clarify, I believe in the introduction I said her name wrong.
It was Mary. It's Marilyn.
Marilyn.
You call me Marley, you call me Marilyn, you know, call me anything, but don't call me late for dinner.
Marilyn Maples
Yes.
is the subject of this interview. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.